Are you an old school lawyer? And yeah, I said it. And you love the idea of carrying a trial notebook of no less than 500 pages to every single one of the trials that you've ever had? Well, notwithstanding the hundreds of instructional videos that I've created in my efforts to encourage my old school litigation trial lawyer friends to upgrade and automate their trial prep strategy and move into a more efficient automated strategy of using a cloud-based OneNote e-trial notebook. Well, I'm here today to say I give up because today I want to talk to you about the PDF version of my OneNote e-trial notebook template. And although it's a PDF printable version, I'm still calling it my OneNote e-trial notebook because it was originally created for OneNote and I originally created it with OneNote, but I have been successfully convinced by one of my old school trial lawyer litigation friends. That's right, I said it and you know who you are. You know, the ones of you who come up with 101 reasons why you need a PDF copy of every damn thing so you can print it out in paper format. Yes, one of my old school friends has finally convinced me to break down and create a PDF version of something that I have been trying for the past few years to convince you to un-PDF. And so yeah, I'm coming back to you today to preview the PDF version of my OneNote e-trial notebook template. Hi there, I'm Professor Blackmore and welcome back to my channel. And so I'm not going to show you any OneNote tricks or OneNote techniques today. No, I'm just going to show you around the PDF version of my OneNote e-trial notebook template. And keep in mind, this does not mark the death of the ProfessorBlackmore.com OneNote e-trial notebook template because it is my top-selling OneNote template. And I have sent many successful trial attorneys off to trial using the trial litigation strategies included within it. And so this is a good opportunity for you to see each and every section that is included in the OneNote version of my e-trial notebook template as well. And so let's jump right in. And now many of you are aware that I've always used the Buckland's Building Trial Notebooks litigation strategy to construct my civil OneNote e-trial notebooks. And so all of the most popular forms needed for a standard personal injury case are included in my OneNote e-trial notebook template. But now I've taken each section of my OneNote e-trial notebook and made a PDF printable version using PowerPoint. And so I've also included the PowerPoint version in this template as well so that you can delete sections that are not applicable or even move sections around and create your own standard template that you can use to efficiently create trial notebooks for your subsequent trials. And so the Buckland's Building Trial Notebook strategy starts every section of the trial notebook with instructions so that if you have staff in your office helping you to construct your trial notebook, then they'll be able to use the instructions to make sure that all of your litigation objectives for the trial are met, and so that all of the subsequent sections and subsections are completed correctly far in advance of your next trial without the trial lawyer having to stop and direct every step and every aspect of the preparation. Now, the first section in the trial notebook is called the plan. And so in the plan section, the first subsection is going to be the instructions. And so the instructions instruct us to include a copy of the litigation checklist. And as items on the litigation checklist are accomplished, you'll want to check them off And if an item on the litigation checklist is not needed for your case, then you want to simply cross it out. And if you would like to get a 100% free copy of this checklist, you can head over to my website at ProfessorBlackmore.com, and I'll place a direct link in the description section below. And if we proceed further with the instructions in the plan section of the trial notebook, we're instructed to place the form notes of additional tasks behind our litigation checklist form. Now, here is the litigation checklist. And so, for example, after you enter the court information and trial setting date information, you're given some pre-suit litigation matter tasks that you also need to complete. So you'll want to make sure that your paralegal or legal assistant calendars all of the applicable pretrial dates and that the items on the checklist are being accomplished. Now, in the plan section, we've also included a complete list of all of the forms included in the Buckland's Building Trial Notebook's entire forms manual. And so you'll want to keep in mind that not all of the Buckland's forms are included in this notebook template. Only those that are general in nature and some that relate to personal injury accident case matters are included. And so we do, however, offer access to our entire set, and I'll place a direct link in the description section of this video if you're interested. And so this is a listing of the entire set of forms. Then you can use the list to add other forms into any of these sections so that you can modify your template to meet the needs of a particular case that you're working on in your law office. Now, here are some of the other sections included in the PDF version of Professor Blackmore's OneNote eTrial Notebook template. Now, the first thing you'll want to know is the index, which lets you know all of the things you'll find in the template. And in the PowerPoint version, the links in the index link directly to the place where you'll find the selected information. So let's go to the next section, which is the summary section of the trial notebook template. And again, as you can see, the first subsection and every section thereafter is always going to start with the instructions. And so you have the generic case summary here, but you also have access to the motor vehicle accident case summary here as well. And then you also have access to this handy list of instructions. And if you are a plaintiff's attorney, you can use this list to give to your client in a motor vehicle accident case, or you can use this list to get ideas to make your own list. Now, the next section is the pretrial orders section. And in this section, it just reminds you to include all pretrial orders related to procedural matters in the case. And later on, we'll take a look at the motions orders section of the notebook, which is where you will place motions and orders that are related to substantive issues, or what some may call dispositive motions, like motions for summary judgment. Now, the next section is the Our Witnesses section. And here are some of the things you'll find in this section of the trial notebook template. Now, keep in mind that you'll find most of the forms associated with this section in section 51 of the full set of Buckland's forms. Now, in this section, we're instructed to complete witness summary forms for each witness in the Our Witness section and place them in this section of the notebook. We're also instructed to file any other materials here which will be helpful in handling the witness at the time of trial, such as copies of statements, attorney's notes of interviews, miscellaneous facts, diagrams, or notes about what others have to say about the witness, i.e., anything that can be helpful in examination of the witness. Now, there's also a pointers for witness form, which also provides some pointers that may be shared with the type of friendly witnesses that are here in this section of the notebook. And there's also a witness expense report form that may be given to the witness to complete for depositions and trials. And again, for a copy of All of the forms for this particular section refer to Section 51 of the Buckland's Building Trial Notebook's full set of forms. Now, the next section is the Their Witnesses section. And here are some of the things you'll find in this particular section of the trial notebook template, including this checklist, which includes 6 standard items that should be included in a cross-examination. And the next section is the third-party witnesses section. And here are some of the things you'll find in this section. And as you can see, you have some handy checklists, including tips for your motor vehicle accident scene witness who was not involved in the accident, as well as a checklist including tips for the police officer who reported to the scene of the accident. Now, you may find forms associated with this section of the trial notebook in sections 40, 45, 46, and 47 of the Buckland's full set of forms. Now, the next section is the Our Expert section. And here are some of the things you'll find in this section, which includes an expert opinions admissibility checklist. And by way of example, if you have a slip and fall case and your position as plaintiff is that the absence of an anti-slip mat on the floor was the cause that your client slipped and fell and caused injuries, it can be fatal if your expert's report does not mention this anywhere in it. And so this may not be a full listing including everything, but you can use this list to create your own list so that you can be sure you do not make these kinds of fatal mistakes, which could result in lengthy motion in limine fights. Now, moving on, the next section is the Their Expert section. And here are some of the things that you'll find in this section of the notebook template, which includes this checklist that includes 10 standard items that should be considered in a cross-examination of an expert witness. Now, the next section is the Exhibit List section. And as you can see, this section provides tips on how to avoid omitting key exhibits and how to make sure all exhibits are properly admitted prior to opening statements so that key documents or visual evidence can be used to show the jury in the opening statement. Also included in this section is a checklist with tips for obtaining the proper scene or site inspection photographs. Now, the next section is the Finder section, which provides instructions on how to keep you from wasting time fumbling through correspondence and other files to find telephone numbers you may need at a moment's notice at the time of trial by instructing you on how to complete the client, insurer, and co-attorney finder form, the adverse party and attorney finder form, and the list of witnesses and persons having relevant knowledge form. Now, the next section is the deposition summary section. And here are some of the things you'll find in the deposition summary section of our notebook template. Now, the next section is the deposition arrangement section. And here are some of the things you'll find in the deposition arrangement section that you need to make with any of your particular deponents in order to set the witness for deposition. Now, the next section is the damages list section. And here are some of the things you'll find in this section of the notebook template, including tips on what to include in your request for admissions. Now, the next section is the pleading section. And as you can see, we also have a place here to include any pleadings that you want to include in your trial notebook. Now, the next section is the admissions section. And it reminds you to look for admissions in 4 places: in your formal request for admissions, of course, as well as in your pleadings, in your interrogatory responses, and depositions. Now, the next section is called the Law Trial Memo section. And here you'll find that it has an objections checklist with a quick reference guide to your basic 24 objections in alphabetical order, and you also find in this section that you have an Exhibits Foundation checklist, which provides a quick reference for laying the proper foundation for authentication of a particular exhibit, like, for example, as you can see here, the business records exception, and information in both of these subsections can be modified, of course, to coincide with the rules in your particular jurisdiction. Now, the next section is the motions in limine section. And in this section of the notebook template, it includes samples of motions in limine. And then the next section is going to be the motions orders section. And here are some of the things that you'll find in this section, including a place to include any dispositive or substantive live motions and orders entered in the case. Now, the next section is the voir dire jury information section. And as you can see, you have a generic confidential jury questionnaire form, as well as a bodily injury confidential jury questionnaire form. Now, the next section is your opening/summation section for your notes related to your opening and closing statements. And the next section is the jury instruction section for your jury instructions notes and your draft jury instructions that you intend to submit to the court for approval. Now, the next section is the settlement section. And here are some of the things you'll find in this section, including the ProfessorBlackmore.com sample demand letter. Now, the next section is the insurance section. And this section provides a place where you may put any subrogation information that you may have for your particular case, including other insurance-related information. And then the last section is our trial diary daily notes section. And we've included a copy of the ProfessorBlackmore.com traditional yellow pad notebook template here, where you can write or type your daily trial notes. So, if you have any questions, please leave your questions or comments in the comments section below. And if you might consider constructing and using your own OneNote eTrial notebook, the OneNote version, or even the PDF version at your next trial, please let me know by leaving your comments in the comments section below. And don't forget to pick up a free copy of the ProfessorBlackmore.com trial notebook checklist available on my website at ProfessorBlackmore.com. And if you found these tips helpful, I hope you'll also give me a big thumbs up. And I hope you'll also consider donating to this video and to my entire channel by using the ProfessorBlackmore.com Cash App. And I also want to ask that you please subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the bell so you'll be notified whenever I come back with more law office productivity tips, including paralegal tips. And if you would like to purchase a copy of my OneNote or PDF printable version of my eTrial notebook template, please visit me on my website at ProfessorBlackmore.com. And please also follow me on TikTok and Instagram.